I'm not aware of I'm not aware of like tourists that are generally angry at me for any reason, but you know, it's still, part of the deal, I guess. How's everybody doing tonight? All right. Well, I'm gonna do some adjustments here. All right. I'm out of water. Almost. It's no good. All right. That's a nice one. Thanks, Nick. Thanks for sharing. Appreciate that.
Worked on those lyrics all day.
What is that? What were you actually saying there? Like, for the audience, what's the lyrics to that?
Well, the first part, I talked about sandwiches.
Sure. I heard that. That was clear.
Because it was like, sandwiches,
Right.
And then the second verse was actually about car tires.
Oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
Because that was all car tire.
Mm-hmm. I see it. Sure, I can see
Yeah,
that.
try to pay attention, man. You got to keep up. You got to listen.
True. You're right. True. It's on me. It's on me. Take that one. Take that blow.
I remember the first time I heard that kind of music, I didn't actually think they were saying anything.
What up, Brent? Really? Yeah. You didn't think that, like, when you heard that they were saying, like, love?
Yeah, like Opeth and shit.
Yeah. Like that. Like,
yeah.
he's like, well, you said love.
Dudes really have to lay into it. I saw Opeth.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Opeth in Eugene.
Sure.
And we got really drunk. We walked to the show. And on the walk home, we just made fun of my buddy who took us to the show the whole walk home about how it was just straight up 2.5 hours of because that's what it sounds like.
Yeah, it's wild, isn't it? Yeah,
they're a great band. I'm just saying.
No, it's wild how irritating, or I don't know what the word is, how irritating some shows are when you go there and you just been there for a while. It's loud, and then you kind of go, God, okay, I'm over this. Like, I like this band, but I'm over it.
Well, then and then there's the openers. So you have, like, you know what I mean? Before the headliner goes for 2 hours, you just heard like 2 hours of
Yeah, it's tough.
I saw God, what was the name of the band? Devil Driver. That was the name of the band that opened for them.
I remember them.
They were good.
I remember the name of that. I remember the name of that. I wouldn't know a song, but I remember the name.
Right. Yeah, they were good. They were a good band. That was the first time I'd seen them or heard of them.
I like the name. It's kind of cool.
Devil Driver. I thought it was kind of cheap.
Oh no, it's definitely cheap. But is their music not kind of cheap?
Again, yeah, I don't know. The only time I heard them was at that show. As a band, they were pretty entertaining.
Like I think like Limp Biscuit. I think that's a great name for a band because it's the name of a Limp Biscuit. Like that's kind of what I think of them musically, and I kind of think they thought that of them, and that's what makes it so cool. It's like I don't fault WWE wrestling for being fake because they said it was. You know?
Yeah.
So like I'm not judging. I don't really judge musicians simply because I figured that out, that it's all everybody has to pick an act of some kind. And some of them are the cheesy ones and some of them are the cool ones. Some people get lucky enough to be the cool one. Other people got to be the dorky one, and some people
isn't it okay? Well, you just made you just raised an interesting point.
Space.
The name of the band, like, I don't know, it suggests something. So, like, I don't know, just having like, so let's check this out. For example, what if Limp Biscuits' band name was actually Iron Maiden?
Mm-hmm. But they're joking.
No.
Well,
You've never heard of Iron Maiden before. I'm serious.
Right.
Like, Iron Maiden doesn't exist.
Right.
And this band comes out and their name is Iron Maiden, and like the imagery that's associated with them is like Iron Maiden.
Right.
It's like Eddie, and then you put it on and it's Fred Durst.
Right. So
It's
here's
almost like people would take him more seriously just for having a name that isn't just intentionally silly.
well,
And there's a lot of bands with intentionally silly names. I think
me-
we're kind of maybe one of them, sort of.
no, I don't know. Ours,
Playful.
no, I think ours is deceiving. Like there's a couple ways that may sound like something else.
Totally. No,
And
no, it's
so
fun and
that's
playful.
one. No, I'm saying it's the playfulness from the words themselves. You know what I mean? Not the. They don't mean anything.
So I guess anyway.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it totally
But
does.
what
I
I'm
think
saying is
my point is,
I
do you
don't think Limp Bizkit means anything. But I
Right.
knew also that I didn't want to be in a band that was playing like emo, serious cry music, or I didn't want to be Steve Winwood and talk about how everything could be better in the world, or
Dude, I love
like
Steve
I already
Winwood,
knew.
yeah.
I don't hate Steve Winwood by any
I'm
means.
just kidding.
I simply mean is I knew that whatever the project was going to be, before like when I met you, started playing with you, I just realized that you were already silly, but also talented. And so what I was doing before that, when I came up with the name, so before that was really just my idea of like playing music that sounded good, and like
No, I
smooth
think
and
it's a
stuff.
great name. I
But
think it's a
then-
professional sounding name. I think I just wanted to. My point was, do you think, just to get back to this before
Mhm.
we slip away, do you think Limp Bizkit would have been taken more seriously if they'd had like some super cool name?
No,
You know what I mean? Like,
no, they wouldn't have, because their song lyrics and their tones and everything and their style of real herky jerky, almost dance rock kind of stuff,
it's so bad.
was,
I mean, I am such a critical jerk.
Hold on. I know, but you're saying this is something, and then you're comparing something to something else, and I'm comparing it to, like, if I took a lens, I'm just looking at it through multiple lenses. I'm saying, like, for the fact of making money, that if you went through that lens, they win. So, like, if you compare them to, like, guitar tone, they might lose, but they don't lose, or you know what I mean? So they're not losing in all the spectrums of what success means, you know what I mean? Like, they may be happy and having fun and stuff like that, you know what I mean? So through the lens of musicianship, one might say that Limp Bizkit's not a great band. That's an easy one, right? But it's the low-hanging fruit. That's all. It's just the
See,
low-hanging fruit. There's more there, you know what I mean?
There's something a little more complicated there, which is this. So staying on that, their name for just a second. The name just already like kind of suggests there's some kind of silliness to it.
Well, that's
right?
what I'm trying to say, and
Yeah.
I'm saying you can hear it in the
Yeah.
tones,
yeah,
and the
yeah.
way he's talking, and like the guy's like smart enough to know that he wanted to make it, even being who he was, and that
Right.
he wasn't going to just stop because he
So
wasn't
that
born
brings me to
born
the-
into some badass motherfucking body. You know
That
what I
brings
mean?
me to the next part, which is I do not believe that people actually like that shit. And what I mean by that is even the fans in the audience. That sounds really weird. It's a weird statement. Follow me here. Commercialism is powerful. Like they got their name out there. That's all. People like drink, the Pepsi and Coke thing. The reality is it's fucking everywhere. That's why it's a thing.
But I think
Right?
I think everything you're saying is true about them, but also equally everyone else. So
Like they didn't tour
it's
and build a
everybody.
following.
That's true
is
about
what I
everybody,
mean, right?
No, but they're not. What I'm saying is they're also not. Like I'm saying is they're also not burdened with having to tour. They already have enough money. They're probably just fine. So it's just like that's just like everyone doesn't set out with the same goal. So when somebody's not trying to achieve something, I can't judge them for what they're not trying to achieve. You know what I mean? Like that. Like some people just aren't trying to do that. So this just doesn't make sense to say they're not doing it right when you know what I mean. Like,
Yeah. I think well, that's not what I was saying.
no,
What I was saying was that their popularity was just promoted and commercialized. Like it was the promotion and the commercialization is what created
Sure.
the popularity. And that's hard to imagine that they have any money today. Isn't that they were still thriving off the tail end of the record industry? Weren't they actually selling physical CDs still when those guys were around?
I have no idea. I mean, they could have bought one house for $40,000 in the early '80s, and that could be worth $4 million now. I mean,
80s?
It's like there's a billion. No, I'm saying anybody could. Anybody, I'm saying there's a bunch of ways to make money. Is all I'm saying.
Oh,
it doesn't even have anything to do with that. I just mean like they made a living at some point in their life, and they were able to like make money. And I'm sure if they were smart enough to save some of it, they're probably still living off of that money. And what I'm saying is anyone that we've ever heard of probably is in that category. If we know the name of the band, and we're sitting here right now, and they're not like a local band, then they're probably in the category of they did well. And like some of them are shitty bands, some of them are good bands, but that doesn't really, you know what I mean? Like they're in the industry and they made a living somehow. Counting Crows, like them or not, they made a living. You know, like bunches of bands.
They still
silly
play, don't they?
I don't know.
They do.
I
They
just, you know what I
still
mean?
play.
Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter. But I just mean like bunches of people do stuff and some people don't. Some people are like one guy left in the band that's alive, and they got a bunch of younger guys playing all the other stuff, and they're doing the casino tour. You know,
that is
maybe
the weird.
like
That I want to tell you. I wanted to say that a big part of that casino shit is what made me like take. And when I say take a step back, I'm talking like Homer Simpson backing into the shrubbery in his yard, taking a step back. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Sure, like
People use
hide.
it for a meme and shit all the time. You know what I'm talking about? Because bro, I'd see those signs everywhere at work, and I'm like, what? Those guys are playing a fucking casino? Like, it was depressing. It made me think, that's you, Nick. I remember it was like, you know, and like you said, it was some band like, fuck, I'm trying to think, like Jefferson Starship or something like that, playing at Chinook Winds. And then you look and they're like doing a tour of casino shows where this once megastar band that was filling, you know, arenas is now like playing for like just weird empty ballrooms and casinos for like $500.
Well,
And
maybe
I remember I was at
$2,000.
work. I just remember at work and I looked up, dude. I looked up and I just remember seeing my face up there. I was like, no, I will never.
Well, I mean,
never.
that's not.
I would
you know,
never.
I'm just saying, you know,
You
is
saying
what
you
it
play
is.
casino shows?
It is what it is. No, I'm just saying is I don't. There's no reason to make a decision about what you might do when you're like 60 something. If you're not 60 something, like I might think differently about it. I might not give a fuck what like somebody in there that's younger than me thinks. Oh, I would give a fuck, you know? Like, so I'm gonna assume maybe I'm gonna get to an age where I'm like, really? You really think I give a fuck? I want to rock, like, you know? Like,
Okay, yeah, you're right. Good point.
So
I think for me it's just because like my association directly is with stinking ass casinos and the clientele is very unsavory.
I'm not gonna.
No offense, casino people. I was once one of you.
The
I'm
secret
just kidding.
I think one of the secrets to being happy is to start to realize that a certain amount of things you do you don't even like you do and other people don't, and there's certain things people do like that you do and other people don't, but you're never really right.
I think
so. I don't know what.
I think
when
what
I try
it
to
is
judge something, I don't really ever think I'm right necessarily because there's other people in the world.
I
that
think
are gonna
it's the
disagree with me.
I think
so.
it's the idea of just being reduced too.
When it comes to music,
you know,
though.
it's like watching somebody, you know, somebody you love physically deteriorate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's sad. It's like, man, you were this strong person, and that's what happens in life.
Well,
So when I look up and I see this once mighty band, and now they're playing Chinook Winds Casino for like some people who are literally physically asleep during the show.
I mean, maybe, but maybe like I don't know. I might go watch like an old like I might go watch like Huey Lewis in the news.
He wouldn't have to play a casino. Huey could definitely fucking book a venue.
I don't know. Look up Huey Lewis. I wonder if I bet he's in the
Look him up right now, man.
What's
Fuck
he
that.
play? What size of joints he playing?
If it says he's on a casino tour, I'm gonna cry.
Who else?
Dude,
Chat?
see,
Throw
you just
someone out
mentioned a
there.
perfect example because he
Yeah.
was once
I was trying to
almighty.
think of somebody I was trying to think of somebody that I liked when I was a kid, like that I would think would be funny to like hear that guy play, because it'd be like, damn, dude, I remember when I liked that shit.
Huey Lewis?
Oh yeah, I was like,
I
it was
loved
one of
that
my first
motherfucker when I was a
records,
kid,
like
dude. Hell yeah.
5th grade or something.
Hell yeah, I was a huge fan.
One of my first.
Anybody talking about favorite drummer? Anybody talking about how shitty the audio is yet?
No, I haven't heard that.
Usually people say something about that.
I know.
He says favorite drummer. Yeah, Juice Pig. I'm serious. Look it up. Juice Pig is my favorite fucking drummer.
I thought you were talking to Brett.
I am. Says
Oh,
favorite
okay.
drummer, and I'm telling him
yeah.
Juice Pig, man.
I'm gonna have to go with Danny Carey, but that's kind of cheap.
Tool. That's your boy. Yeah. There's a lot of drummers that the list is endless. But
like
Juice
Neil
Pig
Peart.
is the drummer for a band called I Spy. Look him up. I Spy, G7 Records. Juice Pig's the drummer, and I guarantee it will split your flippin' wig. You'll never
Juice
hear
Pig.
drumming like that
Yeah.
anywhere else, except for George from Propaganda. But anyway, all right. Huey Lewis in the News website. I'm going to see if these boys are on tour, and they better not be playing casinos, man. Not you, Huey. Come on. All right. Dude, we can get Huey Lewis masks. What the fuck?
Anybody in the chat?
Just trying to get some of that
Would
money.
anybody in the chat go to a Huey Lewis show if we had Huey Lewis here? Huey Lewis in the news? What if we had Huey Lewis in the news? Paper boy. What if we had Paper Boy?
Yeah, they don't tour anymore. Apparently.
Well, maybe. For all I know, there may not even be a Huey Lewis anymore.
No, there is. I just looked it up.
R.I.P.
He does like a radio thing. It looks like.
R.I.P. Huey. Huey's tour, that is.
Here, I know a
All right,
Huey Lewis song.
Who else should we do?
My name is motherfucking Screwy Huey. My butthole's kind of chewy. Yep, that's what I said. That's an actual Huey Lewis song. It's a cover. That's from one of his unreleased albums.
Huey Lewis did a lot of songs that my mom thought were good for me to listen to because she didn't want me to listen to Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson would have been my first choice. Michael Jackson Bad.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been my first choice when I went to Ben Franklin in the Rosar's parking lot. The store over there in the left-hand side it used to be called Ben Franklin. That's where you get your tapes.
Absolutely. Remember Ben Franklin, dude.
Yeah.
I used to get tapes at Ben Franklin. Remember that, too.
Yeah. And so we go there, and I want to get that one, but I ended up with Huey Lewis.
You ended up with Huey and Lewis. Yeah, my parents listened to it, and that's why I liked it. And, God, Michael Jackson, yeah. You got to be, like, fucking sick in the fucking head to not like Michael Jackson.
My mom just didn't want me to watch him move his hips around like a wild animal, you know. I appreciated... I watched Michael Jackson. I think I drooled the first time I watched it. It was so amazing to me.
It's fucking amazing.
I loved it so much. I like my mouth was open. I remember, like, damn.
Well, when I was a kid, it was it was that fucking Thriller video. It was just cool because it was like I was into horror movies, and then I'm like, hey, this guy is too, and
yeah, it's wild.
And I always say this, and someone will probably hate on me for it. Whatever, everybody hates me. I thought Michael Jackson was a woman for a really long time.
Sure.
And I asked my mom straight up, Mom, are
What
there
up,
other
Tim?
women named Michael?
Sure.
Because I was like, why did they name her Michael? He's like, Nick, it's a guy.
Right.
I'm like, well, he sounds like a chick. He sings. That's what I said.
Right.
Didn't mean I didn't like it.
The innocence of youth.
Yeah, no, it's seriously. I was, and then I was like, oh, okay, it's a dude, whatever. I'm dead serious.
I know.
In my mind, I was like, oh yeah, sure, okay.
I know.
Swore that was a chick,
Oh,
but whatever.
Isn't that weird? It's like when you're young, you like really know the times that like you like didn't mean anything by something.
Right.
And then you think about nowadays and people are up each other's ass all the time about every little thing. And you think like how many times you learned like a simple lesson of saying something like the wrong way. You didn't mean a goddamn thing by it. You just didn't mean to.
Right.
Like, this has nothing to do with it, but like the reason I like the Raiders was originally because we were watching the Super Bowl when I was a little kid. I was like 8, and we were watching Super Bowl with my dad, and the Raiders were playing the Washington Redskins. Well, I was like in Little League, right? Ish age, and we'd been to Washington to play baseball, and I just figured Washington was Washington. Like Washington Redskins was Washington State. Didn't ask anyone at all. I just assumed it. It was obvious. It was Washington. Why wouldn't it have been? Right? And like, so I thought we were playing, I thought somebody was playing against Washington, and that's what I voted for the Raiders. And so I ended up liking the Raiders really kind of for like a completely stupid reason.
Right.
And of course they won. And
Send
I got a
enough.
Marcus Allen jersey that Christmas. And, you know, the rest is history.
Speaking of Redskins, is this like too far? It's like,
Did I say Washington Redskins? I did, didn't I? I
Yeah.
forgot. It's not even the Washington Redskins anymore.
yeah, it's just, is this too far?
What, that lick or?
The name, like
Well,
getting
of
rid of the
course
name,
I-
is that
of
like
course-
a little too far? I mean,
I
even
think
even
that- I
me,
think-
I'm kind of
I'm
raising
gonna
an
tell you
eyebrow,
that
like, huh?
I think getting rid of stuff is a bummer when you have to do it. But I also cannot believe, I cannot fucking believe that they rolled with a skin color name for this fucking long. What the flying fuck? You can't say shit about people's skin. How many fucking times do people have to go through this in life? It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life.
So it's like if you had a team called the Brownskins.
It just wouldn't be good. Nobody would have
wouldn't
liked
be
that
good.
a really long fucking time ago, man. It's like so outrageous. It's hard for me to. You know, when they talk about racism, man, there's some shit that people are just like, it's so far down there that it just is like almost invisible.
It's weird. It's such a weird subject and such a weird conversation. Like I have to actually really fucking think about shit before I say it. Too.
Isn't that wild,
Yeah,
man?
because I don't want to say the wrong thing. I'm like, ooh,
Well, no,
one
but-
word too, like one
Well-
and if or not, or some one tiny word if you
Oh,
do
yeah.
it wrong. And
Well,
say
I mean,
it's-
I guess. I mean, I don't know. Like I said,
I just mean like there's so much context, and that's like what we've talked about in other
Oh, sure.
podcasts. Like context that's lost, and like a one size fits all lumping. Like I don't know. Like we said with that podcast with other guys with those words that made them uncomfortable, which they want to believe they're the same as this word or that word or terms that have been around
Right.
for hundreds of years versus something we've done for like 10 years, 20 years. I don't know. Redskins. Like what about redneck?
I
What
don't
about
think
the
that-
red? What
I don't
about the
think-
rednecks? No,
I don't
seriously
think
though.
if that was a name,
What if- now-
I don't
now
think
look.
people should ever. I don't think people should change a name to the rednecks. There
Right, but there's
currently
there's
isn't-
no genocide involved with rednecks.
It doesn't
right?
matter.
There's no
It's not-
context.
but
There's no history.
no positive. There's some okay.
But is that offensive?
No,
The
hold on.
rednecks?
Hold on, let
Is
me
that
explain
offensive?
something. Let me explain something though. People don't need to have things that are perceived negative. There's enough choices of really great names that just absolutely have no possible way to offend or within reason. I mean, I get it. There's people who will never legally be able to chase down some of their crazy ideas about like the Thunderbolt looks like a penis or something. I don't know. I mean, we could take anything anywhere if we want to. Like
Exactly.
the Raider guy's got an eye patch, so is he disabled? Are we making fun of him? I mean, you could. I mean, I literally don't need time to go through every team and come up with
You
a
just did
stupid
it, yeah.
fucking thing. But my point, animal cruelty, Denver Broncos. I mean, anyways, but my point is, it's just stupid. It's a silly thing because nobody's really going to hate that because we're actually not going to compare it to that because we're talking about a name that has the word skin in it that like it really isn't vague at all. So the bummer is that they didn't figure that out a long time ago because it's just weird. You know what I mean? Like it's just weird. That's all. And now we're used to it. So I think it just means a football team. I don't think very many people are that offended by it. But when you actually look right at it, it's hard to deny what it really is. And it seems like if it's into the future too far, if you just keep it going too far, it actually can become probably offensive eventually. It probably would be. And I would say if we were thinking about it as a team, if it was our team, we'd go, well, let's suffer right now for the argument about what it really is right now amongst the people for the future. Because in the future, we won't have to think about it anymore.
So
You know what I mean?
I would
Because-
say this. You changed my mind. Seriously.
No, yeah.
You're right.
Well, I think I just thought about it from a point of view, like I said, of not really at all the way I actually agree with you from a regular, like, historical, who cares? I don't think that many people care. I don't think it's a big deal. But then I flip the sub of it. Like, when you
look right at it,
well,
it's actually pretty fucking hardcore, blatantly racist.
And if we want to be able to lean on things about hate speech and things like that, when it comes to like really figuring out what is and isn't hate speech, people need to get really super realistic about things that are just kind of in our culture that are really directly racist like that. And that way we don't have to like back down off of people who are racist. And then people who are just dickheads can be dickheads, not racist dickheads. Like, some people aren't racist; they're just dickheads. Some people are like, you know, stupid.
I'm so glad you said that, man, because I've thought
know.
about this so much recently. The friends I had when I was younger, the kind of groups like the Motley Crues that, like like Goonies, right? Those kind of crews, like those are the kind of crews I grew up with, where there was people from all different kinds of walks of life, races, all kinds of shit.
Right.
And we'd argue about shit. We'd bitch at each other. We'd have disagreements, and then we'd fucking work together as a team and like accomplish shit. And it was just like, you just shake it off and move on. It wasn't like you said, you can joke around and be a dick, but you knew who was just sincerely like blinded by some type of ideology to the point where everything was a deal breaker. It's a deal breaker because of your skin color.
Right.
It's a deal breaker because of your culture. We can't be together because you're pro-life or whatever.
You just didn't even. Well, I don't think
it got to that. I'm sorry. I just want to say that because people are such freaking assholes lately.
Right.
And they're such assholes to each other. And I look at people, and I looked at a dude the other day in my car. I was driving. I want to tell you about this as a perfect opportunity.
Sure.
I looked over and I was like, the dude was driving like a dick. He was being an asshole, and I'm like, oh God, what are these guys? And he drove by, and I'm like, look at that fucking dumbass. You know what I mean? I looked at him, I'm like, that motherfucker. And then I'm like, Nick, you judgy son of a bitch. And then I just started schooling myself. I'm like, why are you so judgy? You don't know that guy.
Right.
What the fuck did he do today? Maybe he's having a bad fucking day. Maybe he's fucking cool as shit.
Right.
And then I'm like, that's back to what I said. That's how I want to see the world. I want to look at it like that was a dick move. But I'm over it.
Right.
And you're probably a cool dude. But deep down, I know that's why it sucks. Deep down, I know he is a fucking piece of shit. Right. And you and me both know he is.
Sure.
A complete fucking piece of shit.
Right.
And I just really just want to believe he's not. I want to believe he's just another guy. And I want to believe like everybody's like that and they're just not. I want him to cut me off, and instead of flipping me off, like wave at me and smile. Hey man, cut me off. I'm like, okay, sure, man.
No, I don't know.
That's how he rolls. Instead of like, hey, we're all fucking against each other out here. Like,
yeah, but see, if you get, it's just a balance. I don't know, man. Like, if I don't drive up on someone's ass about 80 miles an hour and barely stop before I hit them on D highway on my way home when they're doing 40, then they're not necessarily going to pull off the side of the road and let me by. And so if I just come up on them like a reasonable person, then they might just drive like regular 40 in front of me for like a couple miles before I can pass. So there is kind of a little bit of like a that's like just a little bit of a push. It's not, that gets people kind of out of the way when they probably just need to get the fuck out of the way.
That's just using Jedi powers to manipulate traffic, and I do that constantly. No, what this guy actually did specifically was just really moronic. And what happened was I was on, you're probably familiar, I'm on 84, and I'm coming into Portland to get to the 205 interchange where it splits. So I'm on the interchange where I'm going to 205 south. Uh-huh. So when you go under the bridge, there's just two lanes, and the right lane ends. Right. So I'm a passive driver. Sure. Like I look at it like this. I'm like, that's a battle I can't win. Yeah, I'm just gonna back up. I'm just gonna let that guy get there, and that guy's in a hurry. I'll just let him get up there. Like that's how I roll. So I saw this guy coming. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. You know what I mean? I'm like, we got one of these guys, and I'm in the left lane, and there's a truck in the right lane. We both know the right lane's gonna end. I'm gaining on the truck. This guy had to have been going like 90. Into the tunnel, which I can't even take in my sports car at that speed. You know what I mean? I know it's not comfortable for him. I know gravity's like fucking pulling him all over his rig. I'm like, dude. Anyway, yeah. Then he just got like fully Mad Maxed on me and shit. And then, like, I was just like I said, I'm passive. I don't even care. I'm like, go do your thing, buddy. Hope you don't die out there today. It's not worth it.
I know, dude. You just never know what people are gonna do. Like, you never know where they're headed. Just flying around the world.
I've seen it all. I've had guys pull guns on me on the road.
Oh, yay.
Yeah, a couple times. They always regret it right away. Seriously. Yeah, last guy who did that. But like I said, I've seen it all. I've seen some weird stuff. That's why I'm still alive and I drive so much, because I'm a very good driver and I'm fucking very passive. I drive like I'm fucking operating a spaceship, dude.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I'm like, eyes are fucking everywhere, dude. I'm like on my fucking gauges every 14 fucking billionths of a second. Like my eyes are flying everywhere. Like, no, I know what that guy's doing.
Oh, I know.
I could see a guy pulling out of a parking lot a quarter mile away and be like, I read that dude's profile. Just, you know what I mean? Just by the way, you didn't do this, you did do that, and you're driving that car at this time of day doing this. I got you pegged and I'm avoiding you, dude, because I know you're just going to cause me problems. All right.
I know. I know that one. But I wanted to do a quick road report on my drive to work. There was no plywood or rocks
Nice.
this morning. It was nice. There was one rock, but I strangely, the last 2 days I went home at pretty close to the same time both days, and I got somehow behind the same lady who has a sticker on her back bumper. That's one of those proud parent military stickers, right? But it's like crooked. It's kind of crooked, so it's really easy to see because it's not even on the bumper. It's like in the middle of the big spot. Like
that just drive you nuts.
It's like
you want to fix that fucking thing.
Oh yeah, I could just see this rig a mile away, And the lady, like, she doesn't drive bad. She drives fine. Like, she drives the speed limit and everything. But man, I mean, I could see her looking at me in the rearview mirror, like real super evil. And I keep wondering who it is. Like every day, dude. I'm like, damn. And then I like see her, I pull up on her and I'm like, oh shit, that's the same motherfucking lady, dude. How do I just end up right there, dude? Like, damn.
It's Hood River too.
I know. I was still,
start to get to know every car.
This was just like, I just flew up on her because she was going slow. I prompted her to do the speed limit, let's say. The first time I got behind her, she was going kind of slow, and I was like, well, this is a highway. I said that with my car by swerving like a slalom racer at like 40 miles an hour, like a nice hard slalom. Let them know, like, hey, man, you can pull over because I just want to drive regular. Like, I just want to drive regular. That's all. I don't speed.
I don't either.
People just go super fucking crazy slow, and I just want them to pull over when they see a car that's just trying to get home after work.
So it's kind of a new phenomenon. And like talking about driving is just like ranting, and I could do it for days because I do it.
I think
for
it's
living.
just it needs a space though. Like
it's just here.
It's not anywhere. Who
It's
talks
just,
about it?
It's just here.
It's crazy.
So like I said, I drive for a living, so it really is just fucking here, man. Like when I'll drive 500 miles in a day, and I'll be everywhere, man. And when I get to Hood River, I'm like, holy shit, why is this guy going 5 miles an hour? I saw a dude doing, I'm not shitting you. Oh, it was a woman in a Prius doing 1 mile an hour. And I was on foot and I passed her.
Yeah, right.
And I'm not kidding you. And I looked at her like, is this something? I was like, is there something wrong? And I'm like, because I'm like, you got to be doing like 1 mile an hour. What's wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
She's reserving battery.
I'm not exaggerating in the slightest. That's the weirdest part about that story. I was just, my eyebrow raised off my head. Because I keep seeing it, like you said, around here. Like I live on Highway 14. I'm never allowed to go the speed limit on that road. And like, I don't even speed.
Nah, no, people drive crazy over there.
It's just because this is what's up. People around here, they just don't have anywhere to be, man.
A lot of them don't.
Yeah.
A lot of people just chilling, man.
Yep.
But it's cool, but they just need to pull over. That's all I'm asking. I'm not asking for people to drive fast. Enjoy the valley. Enjoy yourselves. Spend some money. But everybody can be happy. Just get the fuck out of the way if you don't want to do the speed limit. I do that when I go to other towns.
Exactly.
Like, if I don't know where the fuck I'm at, first thing is I pull off the side of the road so I can figure out where the fuck I'm going on my phone. It's not a big deal. It's kind of easy, actually.
It is. I was just going to say, driving's so goddamn elementary. It's so easy.
Then I make a plan. I look for highway signs that say the highway because that means you need to get the fuck moving, dude. Because people that live in that area, that live by that highway, They want to move, man.
Hell yeah. Let's
they gotta
talk
go
about
home.
shit that pisses us off, man. You know what pisses me off? You know what really grinds my gears? It's when a motherfucker gets on the freeway, right? And they're like, hey, everybody, I'm here. Accommodate me. Nah, it's not how it works. There's already a system in motion, motherfucker.
Right, you
do a little
join
bit of
in.
assessment and
Right,
read the room,
right.
do some math.
You
That guy's going
join
this
in.
fast. He's going that fast. I'm going to fit right in there. Not like, hey, everybody, I'm here. Stop what you're fucking doing and adjust to my schedule. Fuck you to those motherfuckers that
Yeah,
do
I don't
that,
like
man.
people like that.
I
don't do that.
had a dude straight up ride the shoulder in Hood River once to me because I wouldn't get over. And he did. This is like a year ago, too. Maybe a year and a half ago. He's in a huge car, like a Cadillac. Like classic, classic, like short, kind of stocky white dude with a mustache. Seriously, Roman. Right at that first Hood River exit, he's getting on and he zooms down the on-ramp and I see him. I have my cruise control on. I'm like, I'm not changing my life for you.
Right.
Yeah, like, fuck you. Figure it out. Do some basic math. And he wouldn't. To the point where he really just was so frustrated with me not paying attention to him because I wouldn't even look at him. He rode the shoulder, bro, kicking up dirt and rocks. And I just, out of my periph, I look over and I see him throwing his arms. I'm like, oh, shit, I got a live one. Like, you know, like, maybe I should do something. Bro, this guy was like straight road rage. He rode. Dude, I got my cruise control on, man.
Yeah, I don't like breaking my shit, dude. I like set my cruise control up and get the fuck, man. I can't handle those people. I see them on the freeway like 6 different times. I already passed you, and then why'd you pass me?
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
then, wait a minute, I just passed you again.
Yeah,
And then 5 miles later, you passed me. Like, you think it's a fucking game?
Yeah, exactly.
Jesus Christ. Will somebody pull them over and do something about this shit? Like,
Yeah.
get
Cruise
real, man.
control's
What the
so
fuck is that
frustrating.
shit?
It's a constant battle because I
I've never
live on the
changed-
freeway.
I use
so,
my fucking
yeah.
cruise control in the 25.
Oh yeah,
I don't fuck around, man.
See, I
ain't
think
never fucking around.
there are some exceptions. The exceptions are hills. You know, trucks can't fucking keep the same speed. They got to deal with hills. Certain wider loads,
That's true. I keep
bigger
my
trucks.
foot, when it's up a hill, I keep my foot on the gas to make sure I get
Right.
up there. And there's a little bit of flexibility.
The
especially in my
freeways,
rig.
though, they're typically
But
flat.
I'm talking about.
If we all just set our cruise control, like nobody, you wouldn't even have to think about it. You could read the paper.
That's what I'm
You know what I'm saying? I don't get it. Why people don't do that? It's like, and it's the same thing. It's like, oh, here's a guy going, you know, I do whatever speed I'm doing, and somebody noticed me.
dude,
They're like, oh, I should speed up because he's
the
doing that
same-
speed. Like, no, that's not. You don't do that.
Dude,
Fucks everything
it's
up.
the same cocksuckers that get in 5-6 wrecks in the 10-year period. You're like, because you're the
Yes.
fucking problem, dude. Fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Go fucking. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
it's like. Because people got to get to work and shit, so they got to drive. Otherwise, some people shouldn't be able to drive. They don't have no business driving. It should be like a high-speed race course. If you can pass it at a certain speed, you could get a lifetime fucking driving fucking achievement.
You
And
know,
then you don't
you-
have to fuck with anything because
You're
you're a bad motherfucker, and that's what that means. Like,
There's another part of that hearing you mention all that reminds me, like, the reason why is because of the oil industry.
oh, I know.
And it's just it means we got to get everybody behind the wheel. We need to make it easy for people to get behind the wheel. We need to get it easy for them to get a car, give them financing options. Like everybody should be able to do it. And there should be literally next to no criteria required to do so.
Yeah.
Like if you want to fly a fucking airplane,
what does that sound like?
You got to go to school.
Does it sound like
forever.
gun? That sounds like guns.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Well, gun manufacturers ride the same wave. It's like, yeah, you got to buy this product. You need it. Otherwise, people are going to kill you.
Right.
But same thing. It's all about moving units. So yeah, if you loosen the laws and you loosen the regulations, then you can move more units.
Oh,
And that's why any dumb fuck can get behind the wheel. And it's frustrating. My buddy who I just talked to out here, he said he got banned. He can't drive in Oregon anymore.
All right. Okay.
This my buddy who works at the rail yard here.
Okay.
And as I was talking to him, like, you know, it's weird. Like, I know, like, my he fucks up sometimes, and I've known him for a long time, but
Sure.
he's a pretty much harmless compared to the motherfuckers you and me both.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like, compared to there's some fucking serious fucking grotesque shit out there. But he's telling me this, and I'm like, dude, you could smoke meth in Oregon and never lose your license. And he's like, isn't that fucked up?
Well, I mean, I don't know if
It's a one size fits all kind of thing.
it's just a weird system, and it's 100%. If you have any brains at all, you can clearly see that 100% of all those types of systems are only built to make money, and that's
Right.
it. There's no other. It's so clear they have nothing to do except
it's
having
not public
a profit.
safety. It's
They're
about making money.
They're a type of business.
Yeah, it's
and
a
they
growth
named
industry.
themselves something else. Like the port is not a fucking something. It's just a business, and so is everything else.
The port's a bloodsucker. We could do a whole podcast on that thing.
Well, anybody that thinks that they can reasonably think about planning something for 5 fucking years or 10 years or whatever kind of jack off fake stuff that somebody wants to make up. The fact that somebody would actually be a simultaneously an adult and also simultaneously accept that means you're in a fucking cult. All right? You're in a fucking cult. Like, you can't accept that from your fellow man reasonably. It's not the only thing that can't be accepted reasonably, but that's just one of those things that you have to be able to look as an adult and look at something and say, that is so fucking far out of bounds from reality. Like, that's just,
I'm fucking lost. What were we talking about?
So the bridge study.
Oh, got you.
Not the planning for the bridge. Not the building the bridge. The planning of who could or how to, like, and somebody actually sits and doesn't smash someone in the face. They sit in that meeting and listen to someone lie to that kind of extreme extent and accept it. And then, like, group up together and, like, try to bully people into accepting that as reality. And then they get enough people who are pretty much the owners of the town to accept that kind of nonsensical horse shit, even though there's, like, nobody in the fucking world gets that kind of insane time to do a goddamn thing.
So you're right. Everything you said is actually completely accurate. Another thing is, like, okay, so the Port of Hood River.
Tim? What? Sorry.
What's he saying?
No, I was just saying hi.
The Port of Hood River is the cancer of the gorge, and Hood River is the don't let this happen to your town poster child.
Sure.
The gorge.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
And when people, like you just said too, like there's both sides. There's one side, which is the port, trying to convince you, no, everything's fine, leave well enough alone, which is in its essence conservatism, right? Everything's fine. Conservatism isn't about fighting for a cause. Conservatism is, let's preserve what we got.
Right.
We don't need progress. Everything's fine. Just
they
the
make
way
money
it is.
on interest
Right.
and land interest.
Right. I'm not saying they're conservative
look at
either.
look at the money we make. It's always the backbone of any kind of like success.
Sure.
See, we made money.
So the actual corruption, like the other side of it, which is to say, no, these guys are corrupt. You need to do something about it. It's always vague. It's always abstract.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not in Hood River. There are literal city council members in Hood River who have direct ties to housing development companies. Like, it's just right out in the public open.
Yeah.
It's like, no, we work for our housing development companies. We are on the board for the city of Hood River, and we don't work for the city of Hood River. We work for the company that hires us to work for this company. Like, it's just blatant, right out in the open. So it's like, yeah, and the port's right next to him. Like, yeah, we love these guys. We're here to suck the fucking blood out of the tourists that these people sell $50,000 homes for $500,000 to these dumb shits. Yeah, these dumb shits who will come out here and they'll pay $2 to cross the bridge because they're rich and dumb, and everybody wins. They're like, hey man, everybody wins. Housing development companies get rich, the city councilman members get rich, and the Port of Hood River gets rich, and the city of Hood River is just a complete shit show, and disaster, fucking of just tourist nightmare, which you see before you. What it is, it's a clusterfuck, a bottleneck down at the river, garbage everywhere. You have parking meters in industrial zones. Mm-hmm. Nothing in Hood River makes sense, and the city loves it that way because they just want to make money off people.
Oh, it's like quirky.
That's all it's about, dude.
Quirky.
The city of Hood River does not give a fuck about the people of Hood River.
Nah,
they never have.
They're into what people? Like,
sorry,
that's all
I'm done. Rant over.
It's all B&Bs. What people? There ain't no people here. There ain't even hardly any people.
That's the thing about the parks too, and affordable housing, which is just it's just as fucking arbitrary as trickle down. Affordable housing. What does that even mean? It doesn't even exist. They're like, oh, we'll build 6 apartments. Be like, oh, like American Village? Aren't those condos now?
Oh no, they don't have.
Oh no, dude. This time it's different. Like trickle down. Like, it's just all bullshit. in the city of Hood River. With the,
They
I'm
don't
sorry,
want-
God,
they
the
don't
parks
want-
thing was just
I
like
don't want regular people living around
exactly, dude. Affordable housing is a myth. It doesn't even exist. Affordable housing is a house that costs $100,000. You got
Yeah.
one of those?
here. Right.
Just one?
Nah.
No, nothing. No, because it's not affordable. They don't want to build 5 homes on one lot. They'd rather build $1 million house and sell it to one jackass. We'll pay
yeah.
$2 to cross the bridge.
What they really want
and buy a $40 pizza.
What they really
and shut
want
the fuck
now,
up.
what they really got cooking up now is using that COVID money, dude. Did you see that was blatant? That was in the paper. I read that. I was like blatantly using. How are we going to use the COVID money on the Rand Road development? Yeah, you want to talk about straight stealing?
Wow.
Straight.
Wow.
Straight.
So COVID relief money, funds that are supposed to be allocated for what?
for
Businesses?
I guess it's just divvied up to towns.
Well, they can do what
And
they,
they can
want.
do what
with
they
it.
want with it.
Yeah,
And
they
so
can do
our
what they
town
want with it.
decided that it
But
needs,
there is
it needs more housing, which makes sense.
There
and I
is
get
some
it.
criteria, isn't there? Like
I
you can't
doubt
just
it.
like you
Doesn't
can't just
sound
go
like
like
it.
take your dog to the fucking spa or something like that.
I don't know,
Like,
but I guess
what people
building
do now.
homes is building homes will work, is what it sounds like. But like you said, we're talking about undeveloped land, so that means there's like layers of contractors that are that everybody likes to put to work, and like that's a lot of money around here. You know what I mean? But it starts right there, and then the dollar value goes up because everybody likes to make like the most money you've ever heard of just to dig a hole or
max
whatever.
amount possible.
Everything's maxed.
Yeah, because again, I wanted to say, Roman, that's the affordable housing solution that no one on any city council member in Hood River wants to just come out and say, because we already know it because it's happening in every other
it's
city.
everywhere else.
Which is you just build smaller homes on the same lot. And
Right.
we don't make as much money on tax revenue, and the city council members
Or
don't
just-
pocket
they
any
just don't-
fucking extra
There's
revenue.
lots of reasons. They've come up with all kinds of fucking fake statistics
Fake
about all
statistics,
kinds of
more like
crime
just like
or-
trickle down myths,
just
all these
fake.
fucking weird abstract
Not
fucking
really,
myths
yeah.
of bullshit. They're like, and the funniest part about it too is they're like, it won't work, and we're not even gonna try.
Right. That's what
You'll
it is.
never even see if it
It-
works or
it-
not because we're
it
not gonna
won't
let
work.
you.
It won't work on paper, so we'll never let you try it.
And it's like we already tried American Village and it didn't work.
Well,
They're condos, so
yeah, but-
why don't you give us a shot and let us build some fucking smaller homes on a lot? And
Yeah,
they're
but-
like, no.
How about just
eh.
remodel some places like that and just remodel them like just somewhat nice and just sell them to like only people who don't want to rent them out or something like. Or how
See-
about people who don't already have 100 houses or 40 houses or whatever? Like, how hard is that?
I just thought of a
Is
slogan.
that such a hard thing that people can
Affordable
only have
house-
like I don't know. Let's let people have 50 houses total.
Right.
Like, can't we cap off people at 50 homes?
Affordable housing isn't profitable.
I don't. Yeah, but I'm just saying.
Just that sentence in
It would just-
itself is something to really think about. If you're ever wondering why your rent is so high, that's why. Because affordable housing isn't
What-
profitable. Just think about that shit.
That's what
Like, and when
everything
I
has
say
to be
affordable housing, I
profitable.
mean to
Yeah.
develop a lot with affordable homes makes the city be like, God, wouldn't we get more tax revenue if we just built $1 million mansion here and sold it to
Well,
some
There's also
douchebag
another reason.
jackass? And they're like,
There's also another weird reason.
fuck the community. We'll sell it to fucking duder from California.
There's also more reason too. Like so.
Fucking rent it as an Airbnb
So
and you'll
they
have
won't-
kayakers over there every fucking year.
So even when they, allow you to
bitter.
build something, they also want you to put in like grass and shit, right? So now you got to get a lawnmower and mow like a little 6 foot by 8 foot patch of grass. Like they torture people. They just keep fucking with people. Like I'm like, dude, I just want to live in a. Just let me like down here at the underground. I would just like box off a little room here, and then there's like a little place to make a kitchen. There, boom, I got an apartment. Like leave me alone. I don't understand what the big deal is. Why are people choosing what normal people just want to live somewhere? I don't understand why it's so, like, why the conversation turns into Roman. What do you want? I'm like, why do you want me to want stuff? Why can't I just live somewhere?
There's some things I want. I'm a really modest dude. I'm a really simple pleasures kind of guy.
Come
Like
on.
it doesn't take much to make me happy,
It's torture.
but I really do. I like having a nice home. Like I've said, it's kind of like
Sure.
my recharging station, man. It's like where I go
Yeah.
charge my batteries
Right.
and fucking Like I said, like get in the corner of the ring and fucking get a drink of water so I can go back out and fight another round.
But I'm saying while I might want
I do like creature comforts.
But
What
what
I
I'm
mean,
saying
I'm very
when
domesticated.
when some people get to a certain point in life, though, I don't want to pay rent to another rich person. That's like an extreme amount or market price without feeling like it's a source of depression. It just doesn't suit me well.
But home ownership too is in itself is a myth. Also,
but except for
your bank owns your home.
Yeah, but the fucking house inflates just insane. So people make so much money on home ownership. Rent makes nothing. You just lose larger and larger over time. You know. And so my point is,
you can maybe.
Well, lots of prayers, yeah. But my point is it's not really what I care about so much as what to choose for other people. Is to say that the foundation of being able to live somewhere for cheap, that you're not giving away rent, is a way that people can get like built up to the fact that maybe they'll stay there, but maybe they'll also earn more, and maybe they'll sell that smaller thing to someone who can just barely get in. And it creates that, right? And now maybe in my life, I might be okay with just that less and be chill there, right? Just stay there forever. Other people might want to use that as a stepping stone, but it's not available at that level, and it almost seems like kind of some like people are faking you out. Like, don't they know? Is it really a secret? What happens? Like, an 18-year-old kid gets out of high school, he gets a job at Windmaster pumping gas. Like, where's the secret to where that doesn't equal enough to rent a place to live? Like, what am I missing there? You know, like, and then what is it that people are really, like, what's in their mind when they don't think of things like I am thinking of them, which is we drastically need to create spaces for these people. Like, I don't, where are people coming from when they use the words like overpopulation? What do you want to do with the people? Is it because you don't want them to live next to you, or is it because or is it because you just don't want them to live? Because those are really kind of the only two things, right? I mean, I don't know how that's such a comfortable conversation. It seems for me to hear a lot of people's opinion about zoning, rezoning, housing, or anything, is that they'll say, well, there's sure a lot of people around here. And I'm like, well, where do you want them to go?
Right. So culture and economics, right? And then the collision, I guess. I'm sounding too philosophical there, and I don't like to sound like I'm all serious. I'm not. I'll say but just to change that. So economics and culture collide. And like something you mentioned, like about the gas station guy, like minimum wage or something. It's like, well, that guy should live over there. I don't want to live next to that guy. But then the gas station pumper too, he's like, oh, what? That guy does that job lesser than me. I don't want to live by that guy.
Well, I know,
and I don't mean literally.
I'm talking about like an actual thing that I can't just pin as people are pieces of shit. I just mean actually, how does the government substantiate the idea that it's made up of people who must either be pieces of shit or cannot seem to change the fact that the only thing you say is where can they live? No, there shouldn't be able to be a different part of a conversation because people have got to live somewhere.
Right.
So it's like just this fucking sane fact that people can think there's two sides to it.
Right.
It's just fucking there's nowhere for them to go. Like,
right,
life expectancy is going down. Like, we're losing, you know?
Back to the culture part is like, if you break this down like a little more simple, like an Aboriginal fucking tribe, right? A really isolated tribe.
Mm-hmm.
A really simple society, how they solve their problems, how they house their people and their workers, for example. Mm-hmm. And just thinking about it on this really small scale, you think of it when you go back to, when you think of it as that small scale, like this Aboriginal tribe, how they function and right. their society functions.
Sure.
And then you think of an American society. The conversation we're having right now is, well, the government should do this, and it's a huge web of shit. It's right. Not just this tiny Aboriginal tribe. It's like, well, this guy needs to live somewhere. And like, well, why hasn't his society figured out where he should live? Well, they don't care about him. Well, who are they? Well, we don't know.
Right.
I totally know charge? What you mean. Well, kind of these guys, but these guys actually own it, and we don't really know. And it's like, at the end, you're kind of like, well, fuck. Isn't that kind of just his problem?
Well, no.
Shouldn't
No,
that person like?
It's not his problem because you can't freely live on public land. So they've blocked that legally. You
Okay,
can't
no.
freely
You're so
eat
right. No,
off the land.
that's what I
You
said about
can't
the
freely
stream
hunt.
because we're live. I didn't want to misspeak.
No, you're fine.
What I meant
You
is
know what I mean?
not is the housing thing his
Right,
problem.
right.
I mean his societal issues that are impacting him. Isn't that like his problem as he's part of that community? Like his neighbor might have the same problem. Shouldn't they
I'm just saying you can go
make
like,
a coalition and figure out? Not literally.
No, I know what
just,
you mean.
Yeah.
I know what you mean. But I just meant like it is. I only wanted to point that out, not because I necessarily didn't know what you meant, as much as what I mean by that in the same way that you're saying that is that like people don't have they don't have an unlimited ability to just survive in nature. There's laws against that. Like that, you can't just go kill a deer whenever you feel like it. It's like they'll let you live out in the woods, like camping, but you got to bring your own food somehow. Like it's just not It's like some kind of like wink, wink, nod, nod, fuck you. Like, it's impossible. So we've all agreed it's impossible. Like, so what the fuck, you know? I mean, like, it's just crazy. Like, now the government owes us a fucking living. Period.
Sure.
Period.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, it's just like,
that's actually, dude, that's kind of more complicated. And that reminds me of the conversation we had with Luke about India.
Right.
Which is and we related to the homeless camp thing. And I said, you know, as soon as it affects your neighbor, remember? And then Luke
kind of, but they'll just throw them in jail. That's why they're in jail.
What's everyone?
Yeah, but they threw
when it's everyone's problem. But what I mean is like the guy who lives out in the woods, like you can't go live out in the woods because you're going to need a place to dispose of your waste.
All of it, anything.
You're going to need a place to do this. You're going to need a place to do that, and eventually it's going to impact your neighbor, and your neighbor's going to be like, "Man, we really ought to do something with our waste." And then,
well, they just throw them in jail right now.
Fucking waste treatment.
Well, they just throw it in jail.
No, the point is now you have a garbage company.
Yeah, but somebody won't let you. There's already one, and they won't allow a new one.
But you see what
no, people would be doing that. You're right.
You get my point, though. My point is just like. You can't just go live somewhere out in the woods because you're going to eventually impact the lives of people around you. And then they're going to be like, man, we should fucking do something about this. And then boom, governments are born and policy is born and democracy is born.
People have figured out how to do all that. Like somebody would open a garbage company if there was a market for it.
And then,
right?
but what they do it responsibly.
They make a law.
Now you need government regulation to make sure they're doing. You know what I mean?
Because
it just keeps going.
Hold on, but probably they would want to do a pretty good job if they were competing against someone else. If they wanted to keep business, so I mean, there's
and then
just
the old man
dies
and the company goes under like Les Schwab or something. I'm just saying.
No, I agree, but I'm saying then you should also, if you went there and you go, okay, well he died, so maybe this isn't the same service. Let me give him a shot, and we'll have to see. I mean, there is some intellectual, like there's some part you must also be intellectually sound with whatever it is you're doing to some degree as the consumer on that end, and you also be able to look at something and say this looks toxic. We used to think it was, and maybe you got to let people go. I didn't mean to. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know asbestos was going to be bad, or or something like that. Somebody I'm sure didn't know.
But I think my point though was that, like. You were saying, the government won't let us go just live out in the woods.
Well, I don't really want to, but I'm saying they at least could leave that as an option, but that's not even an option.
Exactly. Right. And that's why it's fucking interesting as shit. It's a really great topic, dude.
Like Robin Hood is what I think of.
Right, but
like the king's animals. You don't get to kill them,
That's why I was pointing out the irony of it is, let's say you did just like let someone go live out in the woods, and that hypothetical story I said would take place, which is like, he starts dumping his waste, and his neighbor's like, "Hey man, you're dumping your carcasses in my property." But next thing you know, they're forming a government. Hypothetically, like it's just like a.
But again, like I said, there's
but
disadvantages.
the irony is the end result is you went out to go be free in the woods, and next thing you know, you're participating in society in some other way.
I still think,
and like you're creating a community. Like you need community. I still think you need that. You need people who share other skills.
If people could do something else, then the argument wouldn't be, what are you doing here? And so it creates a different point of view. See, the housing industry is based on the fact that people don't have a lot of options. And so they pinch everybody in and shit, and that's what keeps the market up. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Sorry, man. Sorry. Zach, that's really funny, bro.
Yeah, I like that. But so I don't see like, I don't it just like pretty obvious, you know? It's just kind of obvious, that's all. That's what it is. You know what I mean? Like, everywhere I look, people are driving from all over the fucking place to get to their jobs. They don't live anywhere near their jobs. It's so stupid.
Right.
Nobody likes it. I don't know. Fucking podcast industry, so people can listen to your shit while they drive around and they waste their life driving around, you know, not getting paid for it. You know, it's crazy. It's not like you're driving for that reason. Like, you're driving to the places you go to work, like it's part of your job.
Right.
That's not the same as like commuting 2 hours to get to a job that pays $13 an hour.
Yep. Yeah, and that, you know, that's just that's like a whole nother podcast about those types of economics.
It's not really good for anything.
Well,
you know what I mean? Except you said like oil industry, whatever. But
you get to really know those economics when you own and run a business or know someone close to you who does, right? Like we just talked about the restaurant story I told you. Like knowing like what a restaurant is, what it pays. If you sat down, you could be, you know, really good at math. You could have the best model, best plan in the world.
Right.
And what I mean, I don't mean that hypothetically. I mean that literally. You could actually have what would, you know, later be recognized as the best business model on earth. And it still couldn't figure out a way to pay people a livable wage with that profit margin.
Right.
And then you're like, I don't understand. Like that, I make the $40 pizza joke all the time.
Right.
I know how much that pizza costs, dude.
Right.
Sometimes, bro, homeboy at that restaurant doesn't even really make much money off.
Right. I know. The shit's expensive.
The labor. I'm like, you paid me this much to prep that shit? Like, we had 12 guy. Oh my God. You're like, dude.
I know, dude.
Are you even making anything off of this? Like, how is this even possible? So you think about all the other facets and parts of the economy that are just the same way. Like you said, the gas station attendant, which, you know, Oregon doesn't even need them. So it's like, how do we justify it? We'll pay them the least amount we can get away with legally.
Yeah.
You're like, well, I can't live off that. This isn't even enough to pay an electric bill. And they're like, that's your problem.
Right.
Instead of like, wait, that's not even enough to pay an electric bill?
Or just knowing.
Or
what about just like literally like people just act like they don't know that their industry just accidentally excessively makes money. Like certain industries just excessively they don't really do anything.
Yeah.
They just excessively make money. They don't really mean to. And so they're just standing there and they look at everybody like they're dumb. Like, what's wrong with you? Yeah. And you're like, dude, do you know what we sell? Like, get the fuck out of here, man, with your bullshit. Like, that's why the fucking system's broken. It's because it's leaning towards all the easy money. And I mean, easy is it's not easy for me to make it because it's fucking boring, okay? People that have fucking character and are interesting don't want to do those stupid fucking boring jobs. It isn't because they're too stupid to know how to make that fucking boring ass money. Like, dude, come on, man. Like, it's like some dumb fuck sitting there thinking like every poor person isn't smart enough to just piss away 40 years sitting in a fucking job that sucks asses.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people know how to fucking do that. Duh. You know, I mean, that's the bummer of the world. Is that a bunch of losers that can't get a boner anymore literally think that like winning is just making cash. Like it's like, holy fucking hunchback bitch. You know what I mean? Like it's such a and they're fucking their brother or like something that looks like their brother or something. Yeah. Like it's like, what? You won? Like you got 3 living rooms and 2 of them nobody sits in.
Yeah.
But you can't even fucking jack off to a TikTok video. Like you don't even, I mean, it's so crazy. Yeah. Like what success looks like. It's gross.
Yeah, it is.
Those people are better off with a rave in their living room. You know what I mean? Like nobody's using.
That's really funny. I want to say, so I have a close family member who is exceptionally wealthy.
Yeah.
And he lives in a very tiny house in Hood River. He lives in a smaller house than me.
Right.
Okay, and he owns it, and his philosophy is just that. Why the fuck am I gonna pay for a bunch of fucking rooms I'm not even in?
Dude, I can't believe it.
Even with the amount of money he has, which is a lot of money,
right? And
he's still like, nah, fuck that. That just seems like a waste. Why the fuck would I want a mansion, a big old? He's like a big. He's like not. He said this. I remember something to this effect too. He said something not just about his money wasted, but he's like also imagine. That's a piece of earth just not even being used.
Which is stupid.
Like a piece of land. The house is just sitting on it, right? But a mansion that's just empty all the time. It's like There's no farming. There's no wildlife. There's no
nothing.
playground. There's no basketball court. There's nothing. It's
There's
just
no
this
life.
empty fucking room.
Spiders won't even live there.
Right, forever.
That's
Because they hand it to their
stupid.
family, and their next
I don't
family, they're like,
know,
here's
but
another
they're
room we've
stupid.
never been in. Like, yeah,
They're better
great.
off-
You really won life, Grandpa.
They should eat 80 hits of acid and go skydiving. Like, get the fuck out of my face, man.
You still suck at golf, and you can't get a boner, though.
Nothing. You can't. Nothing works out. Nothing. They can't even tap their foot to a song.
Yeah,
It's the most
seriously.
embarrassing fucking hunk of meat you ever heard of.
It's so funny.
It's just a hunk of meat.
Well, somebody taught, somebody teaches,
fucks.
somebody taught them that, right? I mean, that's a culture thing, like we said. Like, he was, whoever this hypothetical dude we're talking about is, like, he was raised that way. His dad's like, son, you know you've made it in life when you can't get a boner, you suck at golf, and you have 40 empty rooms in your house that you've never been in and you'll never use.
And every time you tell a joke, your buddies go,
Yeah. And I
you
wake
know
up,
it's real.
and he wakes up every night to take a leak at 2 a.m. and looks in the mirror and says, "I won, Dad."
Wait, it barely
I
comes out.
won.
Wait, it barely comes out.
Seriously, right? It's kind of sad, dude. It's because it's kind of like almost like a sleepwalk dance that they're in.
Oh, it'll be me soon.
Right, though?
After
Like-
we make so much money on this 46 million viewers,
Right,
we'll have to worry about it once
And
we're
I meant,
rich.
I meant like that hypothetical old dude.
I mean,
like
fuck.
he's like,
Then imagine how bad you'll be at golf once you're rich. I think that must be what happens.
I don't think so. I think, you know what I really think about golf is I think people just always suck at it no matter how much money they got.
I agree. That's true. Unless you're a
so
pro
funny.
golfer, dude, and they're really fucking good.
What's
But yeah,
so-
regular people.
What's so funny about golf, if you don't play golf and you're wasting your time listening to me talk, let me tell you something about golf. What's so funny about golf is it's fucking impossible. That's why it's so funny.
That's
You,
so
you
fun.
stand on the tee box and your buddy's like, you see this 2-inch hole, this 2-inch ball? You put in that 4-inch cup. It's 380 yards away, but hey, you got to get there in 3 tries. What? You're fucking crazy. It's impossible. They're like, watch this. And then you see it and you're like, what the fuck? It just blew my mind the first time I saw somebody lace up a golf shot.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. I like it. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah,
I think
dude.
It's fun.
It's a way to stay healthy, I think, physically and mentally.
Dude, it's so weird. We talk about like lighthearted shit and nobody says anything, and then people like talking to each other. They don't say nothing. Is our subject matter too heavy tonight? I mean, it seems like Zach must be kind of leaning towards maybe we were just a little bit too heavy tonight.
I like it. You know, I mean, if the content is there, I mean, I think we were talking about the housing problem in Hood River. I think that's a great conversation to have.
It's a housing problem everywhere.
It's
I would
everywhere.
really. They're
I
all
was
just for
gonna
different
mention that.
reasons.
Exactly,
it's
and that's
still-
why I was saying we stayed exclusive to the
Well,
Hood
there's just
River
the
hypothetical.
Upper Valley of Hood River's just got so much fucking open land. It's just it's fucking heartbreaking to drive by that much area and just not know that like they can't even squeeze in just a handful of people, like a lottery each year that like go to high school here. Just some kids, they get good grades. You can't let them get a start. Like it's just fucking depressing. I've made my bed. I'm 45. I get it. And I don't deserve anything. I should live in the gutter. But, you know, there's kids out there that haven't done anything wrong in this world. And why do they have to start the fucking world with $500,000 fucking shit? You know, that's just fucking insane.
Right.
I mean, it's unattainable for almost every single human being on the planet.
Okay,
That's
so no, let me say this
such a
really
waste
quick
of
because
time.
I love the language you just used, which is what I've always said, which is the most expensive thing on earth is the one thing every single human being on earth must have. A home.
You gotta be somewhere. You gotta
have
be.
to have
Are
a
you supposed
home.
to
You have to
float?
have a toilet. Like, yeah, like
Gravity says you have to be.
So
Like,
every single person must have a home, and must be profitable. And that is America.
I just don't understand how it's more profitable to not house and like house, clothe, feed, and water everybody so they want to go work and pay taxes. That is an absolutely way better system. Free healthcare, free food, free housing, free water, free garbage service, free. 100% free, and then make happy people who want to do interesting things and make fucking fuckloads of money. We're 5% of the population of the world. We make all the interesting things. We shouldn't be slaving around being dipshits, making any kind of industrial anythings. We shouldn't really have any of that. You know what I mean? Like, we should have people who are enjoying life and finding out like new fruitful ideas. We have all the internet stuff here. We have all the different sciences. We lead the world in so many different ways, and interesting, creative people can move here. And I just don't understand why we're not trying to do that.
We should have jetpacks right now.
Well,
I always,
so.
every time, this is really obvious shit, but I always bring this up because it's simple. People used to wash their clothes with a washboard.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when the washing machine was invented, just decimated the washboard.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So incandescent light bulb, fluorescents, and LEDs came out.
Mm-hmm.
But remember, it wasn't made law till, I don't know, 60 years later after fluorescents were invented.
What, the people had to get rid of their gas lanterns?
The point was they wanted to keep making money off of outdated technology.
Oh, dude, what about the horse and buggy and when the cars were invented?
Exactly.
It's the same type of concept.
So the most obvious thing I'm leading to here is the oil and gas industry is an outdated technology, and they have more money and they have enough wealth to buy and sell any major nation tenfold. Like,
right.
So much money, you can't even count it. So much money. If you went to an ATM to cash it out, it don't exist, dude.
No.
You know what I mean? If you had all the collective wealth, every asset and everything on earth, it would still not equate the amount of wealth that OPEC has, the oil industry has. Like, it's so much money, it's not even real.
Right.
So they're on a level where they can prevent any kind of technology that interferes with their profits.
I agree. I mean,
so it trickles down anyway into the even into the local economies that you were just talking about, like even down into the like where's the money? Why can't you afford to live anywhere? Well, that dude's money is in the pocket of a fucking CEO.
I saw a number the other day that said that like there's
because he's paying fucking $4 a gallon.
I don't know. I'm gonna get the number wrong, but it was something like 720 or something $1 trillion of corporate wealth per year that's untaxed. It's like 700 and something trillion. So, I mean, it's like what I think I can see as a person who kind of understands some pretty decent mathematics, that I think the amount of money that people need to have free housing and free food and shit is not, it's so minuscule compared to the amount of money that could be easily raised without even noticing it, that it's clearly to make people suffer. It's just not even, maybe 20 years ago, the math wasn't there. But now it's just so easy for the richest people to just, like you said, buy whatever it would take to make it better, and they just don't want to.
Well,
they just don't. Even though it would make them more money. Like Jeff Bezos would have more Amazon customers if he bought everybody a free $100,000 home. He would and built it for them.
So something else that's interesting to ponder here, Roman, is when you start talking about these dollar amounts. Jeff Bezos too, like being this one of the rich, is the richest dude in the world.
I think it's him or Musk.
So like even his wealth up against OPEC, up against big oil. These kind of unimaginable amounts of money.
Oh, I know. It's not even. It's never been put on paper.
Nobody
knows.
What's something like
Saudi money,
right?
Yeah.
Even then, though, what people don't really realize or think about is, and when I say people, I mean even myself and just any average person who might be just having a conversation about these dollar amounts,
right?
That they're only worth the value of the currency.
I agree. It's only worth the value of the people.
When you get to that point, like if I did, that would be my worry in the middle of the night.
So you're saying is if we didn't have let me just cut straight to it. So if we don't have an insane military, then our value of dollar is not shit.
Absolutely.
And so but we still have untapped. So what I'm saying is we can have the insane military, which I don't really like, but
you have to maintain your dollar value. But
then I still think the housing thing can squeeze in.
Yeah,
without even being noticed.
Totally.
You know what I mean? I still think the dollar
my conclusion there I was going to wasn't.
It was more about greed and power, I think.
It was, and you made it.
Or just being bigger than everybody else, and like definitely
not being bigger than that. My point was, and I'm actually done at the end right here, is that like if it was me, and I just know that we all think the same way, we're all human beings. If it was me, my
Right.
stress in the middle of the night would be, what if I wake up tomorrow and the value of my money is nothing?
Right.
What if I wake up tomorrow and my government's like,
right.
you know what? Our economy tanked and you have nothing.
Well, that's why I
so
think.
so my point is, once
Right.
you're there, you have enough capital to buy and sell governments.
Sure.
You're OPEC. You could be like, dude, if I could stop paying taxes, for example,
Right.
and there's nothing you could do about it,
Right.
and your entire economy would collapse, and I would collapse with you.
Sure.
It's basically like, help me or we both die.
Right. I can see that.
That's it.
Well, I mean, the thing is that
Which means keep oil
whatever the
relevant.
system is, I really don't want to take away something to put something else in. I mean, I do want to, but I realize there are people who already make their money and they're going to be affected by that. I like to center myself around the idea that it would benefit the people who would pay for it. Because let's say we take all the billionaires that we know, the ones I know where they make money, like Warren Buffett or something, in insurance. So he would benefit if people had more insurance. So people would have more insurance if they were able to buy it, if they had housing for free. The next one, I'd say, like, somebody like the Walton family with Walmart. People would purchase more things at Walmart if they didn't have to pay for their homes. So who else would benefit? Like, all these people, I'm just lining them up, and it seems like they would all literally benefit. And so I don't know what would stop them, or what I'm missing about what they're not benefiting from, or like you said, who it is that's manipulating what they would think, or how they're able to look at this, where I'm missing that it wouldn't make you more customers. Like now, Andrew Yang, the guy that I know that I listen to about the UBI and how he talks about it, I'm really kind of just saying what I think he's saying, maybe just in my own way, which is you're just creating a mental health like surge that we don't really know what kind of capitalism comes out of that. And I don't know how come it doesn't seem like to smart people that everybody would make a ton of money if you were able to actually change the world for the better, in a way like people got to live somewhere without having to worry so much. Like something that dramatic. Like it would be like getting power. It would be like when the country got power. It would be that. It's insane. Or cars. It would be that big.
Right. One main reason is the money, and I don't know if you're familiar with this term. It's old. It's old money. Mm-hmm. You're familiar with this,
right? So they don't want to really accept the philosophy, so to say. It's not necessarily
it's not a system. Yeah,
because they still want money, and they could make money off of this idea. These are people building these homes, and these are people. A lot of money made here,
I'm saying like all the big money in America is just tied up into a couple of people. It's really old money, and it's been in the same family the whole time. And I just mean that money is just constantly recycled.
Well, I
through
just
these
think
same fucking douchebags.
I should be really super clear on what I'm exactly saying. I'm saying people should be able to buy their first and only one home for extremely low amount of money, and that's it. That's what I'm saying. You don't rent it out. It's your home, and if that's what you want, you don't have to pay way more than everybody else in the world's history to get in, so you can live somewhere. If you don't want to be in the real estate game and you don't want to sell and buy houses throughout your life and move up and all that shit, if you don't want to do that, maybe you want to be like me and just like focus on like music and social work and just like not worry about real estate, not really care about what things are worth or any of that kind of stuff. Just be able to focus in life on something other than that. Not have my attention drawn to how much things are worth all the time, or it's in the news. It actually also is a source of blocking real news. Is it like where everybody's talking about like unfixable problems all the time? That's also a super big waste of time. And so when people keep doing that, they don't know what they're losing. They're losing all their civics. They're losing their ability to talk about things that are worth talking about. They're losing. It's not just all this other shit we think we're gaining. It's just crazy. Like, at some point, giving up and letting someone just even burn everything down. At least it changes and everybody dies, and then we could re-evolve again. But you can't just keep fucking this idea of like weird, like some kind of. It's basically like a non-empathetic, like a psychopath that's just gonna drive poor people to the fuck in the dirt for the sake of like a. Hey, fuck you, poor person. I was looking at that bird in that park, or some kind of just insane, like, or it's not quite get the guillotine, but it's real fucking close. Like, it's so disrespectful Like, what do you expect regular people to think? Eventually, that's where it goes. That's why they bring guillotines. That's why they have those marches where a guillotine ends up showing up to the march. It's because it starts leaning into like, okay, man, you just got way richer than me, and you forced my friends to live on 205 now. And I don't like it. I don't like visiting my family in the 10 on 205. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm kind of like lost it a little now because I live on 205 and I don't like it. And so, like I just don't know why a rich person wouldn't choose like nicely tricking the poor people into working for them. It's worked for so long.
So
like,
you know what, dude? I got something to say here. I got some solutions.
Okay.
So all this stuff we're talking about, it's like, it's so complex because it's in America. We're states. We're broken up by borders and municipalities and counties, and like it's different like 2 fucking blocks away.
Right.
Like whatever your fucking code is. But one thing that is universal is utilities.
Okay, sure.
So like we have regulations on our utilities, right?
Like on what they can charge, you mean?
Yeah.
Things like that. Sure.
But there's no marketplace. Where I live, there's only one power company.
Right.
And it's fucking bloody hell expensive.
Right.
So I look around my neighborhood and I'm counting from my deck. I'm like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They make fucking $50,000 a day off this block.
Right.
Now wait a minute. I'm doing the math. I'm like, okay, well, what do they have to operate? Okay, you got this transformer. You got these employees. I'm like, whoa. I mean, that's a crazy profit margin. Jesus Christ, who the fuck is walking home with this? And then you're like, oh, you find out. You look up deeper. You're like, oh, it's a couple of shareholders. And it's like, it's this dude. It's like literally 6 people. This whole block I live on shells out $50,000 a month to 6 fucking people. That is the fucking problem, or one problem where you can start. But guess what? That was just the fucking power company.
That was just your
We didn't talk about the fucking internet,
block.
the fucking water bill, the fucking sewer bill, all these public utilities that just fucking milk the shit out of poor people and just give that money to like 6 or 7 fucking white dudes.
Oh, yeah.
And the government could step in. So check it out. The mayor of my town could come in and be like, nah, not in my town, motherfucker. In fact, if you're a power company, you can't charge more than this per fucking megawatt.
They could just do a study in America and say,
but then
the
power company comes over to her house and says, look, keep the rate the same. We'll get you in, give you $50,000 a year. And then the mayor's like, nah, I ain't taking your blood money. And they're like, we will fucking kill your family.
Oh, God.
Do you know what I mean, though? Do you really think, is that really so insane? Does that sound insane to you that a huge, powerful, mega corporate entity would threaten the life of somebody that's threatening their money? Yeah. Is that, you know what I mean? Like, Nick, that just happens in movies. Does it?
That's what's up.
Does it? Do you really think that's what it's like when OPEC comes in or when Exxon comes in? Like, hey, we need to dump oil. And the politician's like, not on my watch. And they're like, we're going to murder your family. And that's why that happens. Right. It's literally how it happens.
And that's why we don't do the thoughts and prayers thing. Well, I mean, dude.
Anyway, you public utilities, if you started there, if you started with a government who actually could give a fuck instead of just taking money from those companies, be like, you know what? This is excessive. We don't need to just take all this money from this neighborhood and it leaves your neighborhood too. Oh, yeah. You think about public utilities. It's not here in town. Nah. It's in some guy in the Cayman Islands somewhere. Nah. Like it's not nowhere near your neighborhood. Nah. Like, but they're too spineless or too gutless to step up and do something. If you did, same thing you just mentioned. Poorer people could maybe afford those higher rents now because their utilities are low.
Or just, whatever it is. But
whatever it is,
just
exactly.
Like mental health, again, not getting fucked in the ass.
Exactly.
It just causes people to be fucking stressed out all the time, man.
The corruption that's involved.
And then they have other problems because of it.
It's a government that refuses to take action because they have an incentive for not taking action.
And they are the people that are fucking the ones benefiting. Like, not a renter ever is on any city council of any kind. Those are all homeowners.
Yes.
Those are landowners.
Absolutely.
They're not going to be like letting me do shit.
Right.
You think you're going to let me be on your board no matter what I jump, what hoop I jump? Nah, man. I am not invested into like drinking the Kool-Aid. I didn't buy like overpriced houses.
But that's the other thing. That's the other thing.
And get into like, oh yes sir. Oh my god, we're gonna lose this.
That's the other thing though. If you
mean, ran
for office, like, and I'm just saying, it's hypothetical. It could be fucking isolated.
Say something else.
Yeah, well, it could be like, I'm just saying, it's always hypothetical.
Right.
So in like this isolated little instance, Roman, you run for mayor or something like that. And you're like, I'm going to change this same thing. They come to your house, like, hey, you're ahead in the polls. Looks like you're going to win. Be a shame if something were to happen to you this afternoon on your drive home.
Or like, how do you like this?
You know what I mean?
How do you like this new Ford pickup? It's yours. You know,
boom,
boom.
Yeah, there you go, dude. Yep.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
No, that's a good one.
I don't know. I don't really know. I'm not saying, look, man, I'm not saying that like if somebody on this stream wants to give me $10 million, I'm not saying I wouldn't change. I might change. I might become a prick. Hell, maybe I'll become a cop. Probably not. I'm probably going to sit on my couch and smoke bong rips. To be honest with you, that's probably what I would do if somebody gave me $10 million. But I'd like to think that I would be like less of a piece of shit than other people that have $10 million. I just don't know. I'm not really sure. I don't know if it's connected to just having $10 million, that if you just go home and you for some reason know you got like a bunch of money, that somehow you just automatically think like, man, I must have deserved this somehow. Maybe I am a little better than everyone else. You know, I mean, maybe that's just part of the deal. Like, you know, unless you actually have that in your bank account, then maybe that just doesn't actually dawn on you. Like, I just don't know how
that's interesting. You know,
mind is.
I've never had that kind of money. And you're right. I don't know how I'd react. I'd say though that my own experiences, I've definitely been. I just want to use this language properly. I've definitely been in situations where it was obtainable, if that makes sense. Like in the city before I moved out to Hood River, I mean, I hung out with some bros who were ballers, dude. Like, and by ballers, I mean, yeah, they were rocking like $250,000.
Right.
Like seriously. And these dudes
and you saw like, if I hang with these guys, I start working with them, I can make good money.
Boom. Yeah. Like dudes that I had bros pay me to count cash.
Right.
I had to count like 150 grand one day, and they paid me an ounce of weed and $300.
Right.
It's pretty cool.
Some of those people are the ones that own the pot stores now.
Exactly. Yeah, because they all went straight. Right. Yeah, this is way back in the day.
That's what I'm saying, though.
So, like, and again, that's why I moved out here. I was like, nah, I saw what was happening to those guys.
Yeah, right.
I don't want anything
dangerous.
But I had to think about the same question. What would I do if I had a bunch of money? And my answer to myself then, you know, as a teenager, is the same now. Is I think I would most likely just keep living my same life, and I would pay somebody to deal with my money.
Right. And like we all know, like
philanthropy or like investments or whatever, like somebody I trust, like, here's my $10 million, just make it fucking work, or whatever people do with $10 million. Just make sure my bills are paid and I'm healthy.
I'll be out golfing.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, that is probably what most rich people do. They're not pricks. They don't give a fuck. They just got some chunk of money, threw it somewhere, and now they like to be DJs on the weekends. So that's what they do. Or they you know, like you said, they work somewhere, but it's real flexible. They like it. They have a degree in it or something. You know, I don't know.
Yep.
I don't really care. It doesn't have anything to do with it. They don't really stand out. And I imagine them to be like me or them or anyone else. I call myself poor. I'm not really poor. I'm just regular. I just call myself regular. I'm just regular. I just rent a regular house.
I think by economical standards, I am.
Got a job.
Poor.
I got insurance at my job. I'm cool. I don't need help or anything. Like, I'm fine. But I just mean is like, I see the projection of where we're headed, and so I think I am talking at a moment where there is some hope. People look at it like, oh well, yeah, but this guy got it, and his guy got this, and this guy bought this, and I'm saying, okay, cool, but on this present trajectory, it ain't gonna be good very long.
No.
And by the time I'm fucking like an old person, it's fucking dangerous. It's going to be dangerous to go to the shopping market.
Yeah.
Fuck you, dude. And these people don't think I want to do anything about it now, man. It's scary,
You're fucking
dude.
right, dude. You're
like,
fucking
right.
I
don't want to watch my daughter, some like in her 20s, like being like fucking led down the street with 18 other girls with chains around their necks or some weird shit. Like, what the fuck, man?
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like,
those kids,
Jesus
the kids
Christ,
will fuck
man.
you up these days,
I'll
man.
hit one golf ball at that guy's head from 100 yards just to see if I get that lucky one shot to get him right in the eye. But anyways, you know, I don't know where the world's headed, but we're supposed to be fucking taking care of each other. And when I see somebody that I think is a nice person and they say something unbelievably mean to someone else, like for real, they'd make it harder on other people's lives, like real estate agents and shit. They make it hard for everybody else. I'm not trying to be nice to them. I don't understand why they keep talking to me. I'm trying to be nice and shit in this world, but Jesus Christ, man, you're like making it hard for everyone. Like people who sell shit at their jobs that people don't need, fucking quit. Quit working there, you prick. Go do something regular. Jesus Christ, man. Like, what in the fuck? You can't keep upselling people on shit they don't need and then going afterwards to talk about litter. You make the litter. You're upselling more business. Fuckface, go home. You made enough money today. All right? Quit. Go home. Quit fucking buying more material for your business.
Yeah, it's
Quit
weird.
storing more shit. If you got a storage facility, stop.
Yeah.
Get your shit out of there. Give it to somebody. Don't sell it even. Give it away, you
It's like an addiction.
prick.
You know what I always think about?
Jesus Christ, man.
The first time I heard Spicoli,
Yeah.
that quote was I don't know, 18 years old or something, 17 years old. I mean, I was older because at that point. But anyway, to this day, I that's like still my philosophy, and I say it to myself all the time. Like, money, you need money, Spicoli. What for? Or no, he's like, yeah, you need a job, you need money. But he said, all I need are some tasty waves, cool buzz, and I'm fine.
Right.
And it's funny in the movie, but in reality, it's like, yeah, no, seriously, that's
Yeah.
seriously,
You don't need a
that's
fucking lot,
literally
man.
all I need is
Leave
some
people
tasty waves, a cool
alone.
buzz, and I'm fine.
Dude, I
Like,
think
it's all I need.
I think places like India, right, where everyone's loose, living around the shit and everything, and it's shitty in the river and all that, right? You know
Fucking
what's actually happening?
Bangladesh.
You know what's actually happening? Like people that live here, I think, got a business because that would work so good, but they can't let that work. They can't let it see that they go down there and they dump shit out in the fucking rivers. I think on purpose. I bet you there's American companies that dump shit that could be treated, but they dump it in the river to make those kind of places look foolish. I bet they do that shit in Mexico. I bet they do it all over the world. There's nothing stopping somebody that's just going to be like slip under the cracks. How about just poke a hole in this pipe right here? I mean, I wouldn't put it past any fuckface to make anything that looks like a commune look like a shit show. Because there ain't nobody looking at any communes in the history of the world that look normal.
Yeah.
They've never taken a picture of one. They have to make documentary after documentary of failures to never let people think that they could relax for one fucking second, you slave. Never fucking relax.
And I told you about that. I told you about that fucking car. Was that on our stream?
I don't know.
When I told you about that?
I don't know.
I'll fucking remind you. Is that 205 overpass, the Powell off ramp, where they always have those camps and they're being cleared out. And I drove by the other day, dude, and I did a fucking triple take, dude. And there's a fucking car. Another thing is, it's like it's like a bad car. Like it's like a what are those called? Oh God, it's like a fucking eagle.
Oh, yeah, you did talk about
It's like an eagle or something, like some weird old school. You know what I
love
mean?
eagles.
Yeah.
They're so
and it's
ugly.
got the hood popped, bro.
They drive themselves though. You don't have to steer.
This thing's got the hood popped. It's got jumper cables going into a tent.
Yeah, that's dope.
And dude, he was all the way on the.
What do you think they were doing with the jumper cables?
He was powering something in his
I
tent.
know,
But
but,
the
I
whole-
wonder what, like
the
a
thing that
tattoo
blew me away-
machine, a fucking TV. Like what was it? You know what I mean? Like what was it? Imagine.
It's a fucking tattoo parlor.
Yeah,
Because it's
isn't
basically.
that
Oh my
sick?
god, dude.
Like the
Oh
guys
my
in there
God.
making tats, dude. I bet you can get a 205 tat. I bet you kids in high school are doing it because think about how dope that is. How authentic in a tent on 205.
Dude, Jesus
that
fucking
shit
Christ.
is. I put that on a Supreme sweatshirt.
Can I
That
say?
is sick.
Let me say this,
That
man.
is hot.
You know, laws, where they come from, where the idea of democracy, I guess,
Yeah, right.
where it comes from is something more fundamental and just simple than reading the Constitution or something like that. It's one word. It's one word. The word is consensus.
I like that word.
It's true though. Everything we do is a consensus. How say you? Do you want the illegal tattoo parlor in the tent on the side of
I
205?
do. I want everything.
What's the vote? What's the vote in the room? Looks like people are voting against the illegal tattoo parlor in the tent on the
I
side
know
of
they
205.
are. I know they're going to vote against it because they don't want to try something new.
The I don't think it's the experience. I think the consensus would be we can't regulate it.
But why would
Right,
you, why would you need to though?
Their customers are going to the bathroom on the outside of the tent.
Right, so the guy can
You know what I
shit
mean?
there and he can fuck someone in the ass, but he can't
It's-
stab a needle in his arm that has ink in it. You know
Well,
what I mean?
no,
Like,
not professionally.
that's what I mean, though.
Yeah,
But
you
we
can't have
shouldn't
a customer. You
Yeah,
can't
but
have
we
you don't have a
shouldn't.
parking
If you
lot.
can-
You don't have you don't
I
you
believe,
can't accommodate
I believe
customers.
if you think you can perform brain surgery, I believe you legally should be able to. I have no idea why we have fucking crazy standards. If you're too stupid to not buy it, we make stupid people on a daily basis by not letting them think and create for their own standards. Like, if you can't figure that, it's like a company would not want to sell rotten food because they just wouldn't be in business. They made everybody sick and they wouldn't be in business anymore. And so, like, if people are, it's like a really easy concept.
It's not entirely
The
true.
food that sucks and rots and kills you literally goes away almost every time. It's usually like healthy food. It's like things like salad bars. It's things like, it's not McDonald's. It's not really food. The shit
You're
won't
talking about
rot.
food. If you're talking about
I
foodborne
just mean
illness,
people eating
Yeah.
food and living.
right?
One way or the other. They live to be really fucking old on McDonald's and good food, steak, sushi. Everybody lives to be about the same.
So I actually got something to add to that, which is what a health professional would say, I believe, to that would be, sure, you could say, all right, you know what, sell whatever you want, and if it works, you're in business, and if it doesn't,
Yeah.
So what would end up happening, I would imagine, is you would have this like subgroup in this one society that actually get used to eating rotten food.
Yeah.
And everybody,
That's fine, though, if they evolve that
and
way.
everybody's sick all the time, like foodborne illness and like
maybe
norovirus and like
Maybe.
salmonella
That's
and like
worst case scenario.
just saying like regular foodborne illness is just a normal way of life for this one group of people because really they don't care.
It's unfortunate.
Maybe they just don't care.
That may be a byproduct of the fact, though, that other people, though, could just make 5 or 6 burritos, and their buddies could come over and each pitch in $5.
Know what I mean? Like, legally. I'm always doing hypotheticals. So I think like from the health professional lens, it would be like, well, we couldn't let that hypothetical happen because the disease would breed there and it would eventually get out and it would get to your community.
Maybe,
It's like,
kinda,
no, we
but-
you know what, you need to eat. You need
But
to
we
eat
just-
ripe
you
food.
quit eating
you need
rotten
to
food, it
avoid
goes away.
salmonella. And,
But if they quit eating rotten food, then it goes away. So to me, like, you die eventually if you keep eating rotten food because you won't stop eating rotten food.
hopefully.
But then, and that way you don't reproduce, or you do, and they're fucked up enough, no one will fuck them, and then they won't reproduce. Like, so it's enough of a way to end that certain bloodline really naturally when we've already agreed that somehow, everyone's gonna die, and then otherwise too, what are you necessarily? Who's suffering when you're propping up people who really can't prop up themselves? Like, who's actually paying for that? It seems to me like who's paying for that right now are just regular people who are just trying to do regular shit. It seems like that's kind of spawning all types of really confusing points of view, which is had by most just regular people who really don't know what to do, and so they go all directions. And it's because it's weird that, like I said, it's really weird that you could have like some kids and they all go to high school and they do really good and they go to college and they can't live anywhere.
Right.
That's just like a brick wall. That's really weird.
Well, then
now.
they can do your brilliant idea of becoming a black market brain surgeon.
Well, but
Which
that,
I just
hold on. Extreme.
When you said
I'm
that, I
going
thought
super
about it. I'm
extreme.
like,
But I'm saying is,
maybe
what if
I'd
they
get in
did
on
know
that,
how
you
to
know?
do? What if they knew how to just do stitches?
I bet I'd be a great surgeon.
Let's kick it back a couple notches though and say stitches.
Got the calm
hand. Stitches. Not too big of a deal. Maybe every once in a while, like a regular nurse has to come into your place and make sure that everything's like up to par and make sure you're cool.
Make sure the bathtub of ice is up
But
to
for the most part, you're just doing stitches. People just come to you. They knock on the door. Hey, man, I cut myself. You do stitches. You get like $50. Like, it's not that big of a deal. You wash it up. You do it.
I couldn't do that kind of
I don't want to do it at all.
Yeah.
It's gross. But I'm saying is that you don't need $1,000, $2,000 bill for that. You know what I mean? Like, it's crazy shit, dude. You know, like, so I'm pretty sure there's like people who could just give someone like, hey, man, you all right? Let me look at your x-ray. It looks fine. I don't see any broken bones. I'll send it to a real doctor.
Dude,
I'll give you 50. How about $50?
We could do a
Which is
whole
fucking
other
stupid.
podcast.
And then like, you don't want me to look at you and say something like, I know you're going to fucking rob me. Can you give me the most information possible? And they look at you like you're being rude. And I'm like, no, really, you really could choose to not rob me, but you decided to charge like some kind of insane amount of money. and literally pay your receptionist like $14 an hour. Like, so like literally those people are eating literally 99% of what they make up. And then they also are in cahoots with like weird insurance companies that keep everything super high. And holy fuck, man. Like it's almost as bad as the farming scam.
Insurance is a first world scam.
It's sad, man.
And of itself.
It's sad because it's got a bunch of people working there that don't work at all.
It's funny as anything. It's funny as to say, I can't afford something. Oh, get insurance. Wait, what?
Those fucking guys.
Oh no, this is basic economics. Yeah, I'm like, no, it's not.
Those fucking guys don't do anything.
That doesn't check out. Wait. You're saying we can't afford this product, so we buy another product, so we can afford the product?
I'd say
that is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard in my life.
50% of the world. 50%,
is there insurance in other countries?
50% of people can understand everything those douchebags are saying, right? But then somehow they don't think they're just the only greedy ones that decided to take everybody's money to do it for a living. Like, duh, we know how to do that. Like, you think I can't fill out a form online?
It's like, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, really, you think I can't sell a house? Like, I can't fill out a form. I couldn't read a form and transfer the information from that form to another form and bring a lady coffee on time.
Right.
Like, that's not a job.
You're
like waiting for the money to fall out of a rich people's asshole. That's like, it's the silliest fucking thing I've ever seen. It's dirty money.
Health insurance is
dirty
also
money.
it reminds me of car tags.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's funny how like it's funny. It's funny how like
same kind of shit.
It's funny how like I have a lot of weird like thoughts and opinions that change over the years. Where I'll be like, oh, I don't believe in that anymore. And then there's other things I'm like, man, I believed that since I was 15 years old. Since the first time somebody said, no, you have to. It's registration. You're like, wait, so I have to tell the government I still own my car every year?
You know what you're talking about. You just made up a word.
I'm like, I don't understand. What's the use of this?
Just tell me where my money's going.
But what I realize is,
just tell me. I might want to get it there.
Well, right.
It might not be bad.
What I realize is what you already know, which is it was just let's invent money out of nothing.
That's just a waste of everybody's time.
Like we'll literally just create a market where there is no market. We'll call it tags and we'll say you need to register your car again. And you're like, well, you already did. You already bought the car. You already owns it. No, that's the thing. You got to do it again.
Right.
And we'll just tell them it's normal. Stop asking
forever.
questions. Forever.
It's like
you just
support.
pay for it. You just have to keep constantly paying us to remind us that
tell you.
Yeah, that you bought your car. And now you got to remind us every fucking year that you bought your car.
Nobody knows.
So health insurance, same fucking thing. And that's why it's so funny. That saying it in that way, I just said it. I've never said it in those words before.
Like you get all your money back when you don't use it at all?
Which is you can't. Yeah. Which is you can't afford this product and you need it. So the solution is no. We got a solution.
How?
You'll buy another product, and that product will pay for the product you can't afford.
How about they give you half your money back?
What?
How about like
how does that even work?
How about like $10? Will you give me back $10 if I don't go to the doctor in a year? Can I get $10 back? And pay $150 a month to have the best insurance you can possibly have. And could I get $10 back at the end of the year if I don't end up sick? Like if I just use my own common sense, eat healthy, stay out of problems, trying to not get in trouble or anything, and just stay healthy the whole year and don't end up at the doctor. And part of that's my choice of what I did in my lifestyle. We all can agree that that's part of your health. The other part's genetics and just timing and life, just the way it goes.
Sure.
So let's just assume that the part that I want back is for the part of the good decisions I made throughout the year that kept me healthier than I would have been genetically otherwise. And let's just say that's some quantifiable amount. It's just not what it is. Is it $10 and nothing? It can't be nothing. When it's zero, you've stolen my money. You stole it. I didn't use it. The other guy next to me, he paid the same amount as me. He used it 100 times. I didn't use it. So the guy over here had a surgery. I didn't use it. He had this. I don't know. How do you not know how to quantify that I didn't use any of it? And all these other people did. How do you not know that? Like, how is that not obvious to everybody?
Right. So the concept of insurance isn't, and by concept I mean its original definition and intent. You know this too. I'm not saying it to you. I'm saying it to anyone listening. Is it's not supposed to help you pay for something you can't afford. Insurance is insurance. It's supposed to be a peace of mind. It's supposed to be like, I can rest easy because if something happens, my insurance has my back.
You mean the part?
It's all bullshit.
You mean the part it plays? Literally in our society, the most strongest force of what it really is.
What it really is. I mean, it's like having
typically cash though. I mean, like I actually pay for it. Is what I'm saying.
But that's what I mean.
Feeling good.
That's what I mean. Okay.
You know
right.
what I mean? Like, I'm
You
just saying,
pay
imagine
you.
over 40 years or something. That's a pretty good chunk of money.
It's a really good chunk of money, and what you're supposed to think is, I was not stressed out about this my whole life, and I paid for it to not be stressed out about it. But where that goes wrong is with the health insurance industry, because this isn't peace of mind. If something goes wrong, I'll be able to pay I'll be able to pay for my health. It's if something goes wrong with my health, I won't be able to do anything about it.
No, I'm with you, dude. But like, I teach.
Why don't we make healthcare more affordable? Why do we invent a middleman?
But I teach coping skills to deal with stress, and one of them is not buying insurance. Like, those are not on the decreasing stress list of therapeutic model. Like, it's just like I said, like one first of all, like, one doesn't really need to exist, because there's cultures that, like you said, there's no frivolous lawsuits and there's no insurance in that way. Like, there's if you like the trip. Let me give you an example. I worked for a tourist railroad. One of the cars was like a 1910 car, and one of the lawyers from Chicago was here, and he was telling me about like how they are able to insure something that old to have passengers on it. And he said that the grounds they stand on are basically that if a person looks at that train and sees the kind of shape it's in and still gets on it, they've now removed their right to bitch about their injury, because it's obviously that old. And so I think that's actually the underlying truth of our culture. And I think people are really misunderstanding what it means to have insurance. It means nothing to you unless you can afford a lawsuit. It means nothing. You will not. It does nothing. It's an absolute 100% thievery.
Yeah.
You will not be able to get enough money to save your life.
Yeah. Unless you know how to play it.
It will not matter.
Unless you know how to play it. And I think even if you said it to an insurance company, they'd have to just look you in the eye and be like, well played, fair game.
Right.
Because they're doing the same goddamn thing. So like,
people call it out. So
right.
It doesn't really matter.
So like me, I have dental insurance. And the way I've done it, the way I have it and what I pay for, I have definitely gotten way more out of it than I've given in.
Sure.
But it was strategic. I planned it.
I agree.
It was premeditated. I didn't just go into this blind. I was like, okay, they're going to pay out. I did my math. I'm like, they're going to pay out this. They're going to do that. I'm going to get every fucking thing I can get out of this.
Right.
And then the second I don't need it anymore, I'm going to cancel it.
Yeah.
I'm going to use their product. Not very many people get to do that.
No, I totally understand. And what I'm saying is you're right. Most people are just embedded. It's at their job. It's part of their benefits.
Right.
They pay for it a little bit, like just like mine. Mine's not. It's not like I could refuse it. So I don't not like it, but I feel like it's a gift you didn't ask for. Somebody bought me a car. Now I have to drive that van. I didn't really want it and ask for a van. I wouldn't mind the equivalent amount of money, which is like about $950 a month. I pay $150, they pay $800. So I mean, like, it wouldn't be too bad to just have $950 extra every month.
It's so dumb. It doesn't even make any
sense. I know.
sense.
I mean, I really wouldn't bring it up if it wasn't that so outrageous. Like, and then it comes in like a pie chart to me with my paycheck. And it shows the percentage of money that I actually get to take home of my money and what it actually is part of what I make as my benefits and everything. And it's like, damn, dude, come on, man. Like, can I put up a hammock at work? Because it just seems like I got to live here to, like, be real, I'm going to have to move in. Have you seen the movie Parasite? It won, like, Academy Award, I think, Picture of the Year a couple years ago.
No,
it's fucking amazing, dude. You got to watch it, dude. It's really great, dude. It's got.
No, I think I
really
wanted
cool.
to, but I think I had to pay for it. Is it on Amazon?
Probably, but it's relatively new. But it's pretty fucking. It's a neat movie, dude. It's pretty.
I
cool.
want to.
It's really deep, dude, and I got into it real quick. And I think if you just pay attention to it at the very beginning, not that at the beginning's got an important thing not to miss.
Oh yeah.
I simply mean the pacing of it and the music and the way it feels. If you just watch it for a minute and like let it kind of take you, you really can't stop watching it because it's just totally different. It's a really great
we have 1 billion viewers.
Story. Yeah, 1 billion. Oh no, we're done. Yeah.
That was pretty good.
Yeah. No, you don't ever have to. You don't ever have to. When we're done, we're done. I don't care.
Okay.
I always
try to go 2 hours.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
And I'm like,
I don't mind though. No, we got a late start tonight. I don't mind getting the fuck out of here. It's 8:30.
Cool. Yeah. Fuck yeah.
6:30 to 8:30 is our typical, but we came on tonight anyways without being
We'll s-
prompted. I was gonna
we'll-
make a little promo for us, but I just didn't have time today. So
Oh shit, we'll do it next time. Here's a
this-
song about my grandpa. My grandpa gonna fuck you up. He gonna bust your lip, gonna bust your face and shit. Fuck it. Woo. My grandpa was a cop. He's gonna pull you over. Woo. He's gonna set you gay. He's gonna say you got a license plate light out, but you don't, and it's the middle of the day. Woo. Ooh, that's diminished. That's nasty.
it's dark.
That sounds like a dark song. It's the middle of the night and my grandpa's pulling you over. It's so hard for me to, I restrain myself on this podcast. Everything I just said.
I'm sorry, Grandpa.
No, it's actually true. My grandpa was a Clackamas County sheriff, and he was that guy who would just straight up pull you over and be like, license plate lights out. I'm like, dude, it's the middle of the day. Yeah, that's why I couldn't see it.
Oh, he had a little Yogi Berra in him. All right, we're gonna get out of here. Thanks for watching us, guys. Fucking hell yeah, chat. I loved seeing everybody on here. It was pretty dope, dude.
Yeah, America.